want to talk to you guys today about parking your motorcycle. Plenty of ways to do it, but let's talk about this way. Good, keep it loaded, keep it loaded, keep it loaded, keep it loaded. Very nice, I'm looking at the camera. Very nice, good, good, good. Preloaders, V.I.Preloaders, welcome back to the channel, guys. Always a pleasure to have you guys here with me, and you notice by now, or at least you should. For those of you that are here for the first time, welcome to you as well. My name's Robert. I'm a retired NYPD Highway Patrol Motorcycle Lieutenant, and the name of this wonderful channel is called Be the Boss of Your Motorcycle. And part of being the boss of your motorcycle is being confident riding it at slow speeds. Really, that's the biggest part of being the boss of your motorcycle. And that's where parking your motorcycle comes into play, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. So, again, a million ways to do everything, but I want to go over this way with you guys because I also want to tie in with you guys my practice sessions. All right, if you're unfamiliar with my practice sessions, you can check them out. I'm up to number 60. I got number 60 coming up, as a matter of fact. And they're not short videos, right? They're long videos because these videos are filled, packed, crammed with just beautiful, useful information, right? Regardless of how long you've been riding the motorcycle. So, as I always say, I don't expect many people to sit down and watch a 3 hour, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours. I don't expect people to watch those videos from start to finish in one sitting. Or watch them from start to finish in any amount of time. But just keep in mind that that time is an investment in yourself to watch a practice session video. Just keep that in mind, right? Because if you skip around on those videos and you miss certain things, then it doesn't put all of this together, all right? And the reason I'm always gonna reference my practice session videos, guys, is because, like I say, if you can master exercises from the warm-up and 1 through 4, if you're comfortable doing those exercises, that's gonna open up a world of opportunity for you riding your motorcycle at slow speeds as far as your confidence is concerned. And if you can ride the rest of these exercises with confidence, I've said this before and I stand by it. There's nothing that you're not gonna really be able to do on your motorcycle. You're gonna be confident enough to be able to do anything on your motorcycle. I'm not talking about crazy stuff like stunts and stuff, but even if you wanted to get into competition riding, all of those skills start here with the exercises that we do out here, all right? Keep that in mind. Anyway, you see how my motorcycle is parked? Here's the curb line. The back of my motorcycle is to the curb. Now clearly, if this ground is pitched like this, I'm not gonna back my motorcycle and try to back it up and upgrade, right? I don't like parking my motorcycle head first. I don't like parking my cars like that either, right? It's called combat parking. So if I need to go, I can just go. However, the difference between the car and the motorcycle is if the ground is extremely graded, then it's not going to make sense one way or the other. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want to be in a position where you can't move your motorcycle. For instance, if the ground is pitched like this wouldn't be a problem for me anyway because I don't like parking with my the front of my vehicle towards the curb. But if somebody did do that, now when it's time for them to leave, they're not going to be able to back out unless they have a gold wing, whereas a reverse gear, then they'll be fine. But most of us don't have a reverse gear, so that's what I go by. So how did I get my motorcycle like this? And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to reference the exercises in my practice session. Now for those of you that are unfamiliar with my channel, the first 5 exercises, that's the warm-up exercise with the short starts and stops. Nice, you can park. Exercise number 1 is stops and starts. Excellent, park right here. Exercise number 2 is the slow ride. I got some pros out here today, baby. Exercise number 3 is trust and believe. Nice, Rufus, nice. And exercise number 4 is right turns and left turns from a stop. That's 5 exercises in total, right? 4 of them are numbered. All of those exercises require no leaning of your motorcycle. Not only does it not require it, I don't want to see it. I want you to do all of these exercises with the motorcycle straight up, right? And that's relevant here when it comes to parking the motorcycle, because what we're going to be doing to park this motorcycle is, again, if this is the curb line, you're riding your motorcycle up this curb line. That's exercise number 2, the slow ride, right? And when you're deciding where you're going to park the motorcycle, again, this is if there's a space like this where there's no other cars and you have it all to yourself to do what you want to do. So I chose this parking spot. So that means when I got right here, what did I do? I went from exercise number 2, the slow ride, to exercise number 4, right turns, left turns from a stop. I'm making a left turn. Head and eyes, I'm in the friction zone. I made it straight up, straight up. And in exercise number 4, when I make you guys from a stop, make a left turn and a right turn and then come to a stop, that's what you're doing here. You make a left turn, you go out, you come to a stop, and then you come straight back. Let's look at that. All right, guys, so I'm coming up. Exercise number 2, the slow ride. I want this spot right here, head and eyes, straight up, straight up, straight up. Straighten out the handlebars. And just back up. Leave the bike in gear. That's it. Now I did a video on this in front of my house because people were asking me, well, how do you do this if there's cars around? And nothing changes. So if there were a car here, the only difference is instead of me riding along the curb, I'll ride along the front of the cars. Again, I'm talking about cars that are parked at a 90-degree angle. And when I see the spot that I want, I'm going to slow down. Exercise number 4, head and eyes. I'm going to turn my handlebars, and then I'm going to back into the spot. Of course, I'm not going to back all the way into the spot. You want your motorcycle to be up near the front of the parking spot so that people can see that there's something parked there, right? We don't want any accidents. And when I get off of this motorcycle, guess what gear it's not going to be in? It's not going to be in neutral, right? We don't park in neutral. And as you can see, my handlebars are straight. Now that's profiling mode. That's what I like to call it, because the motorcycle looks better from the high side with the handlebars straight. I know that's subjective, that's for me. And from the low side, it looks better to me as well. But normally I'll park the motorcycle with the handlebars turned because I want all of the weight, or as much weight as possible, on the kickstand, which is going to make it more difficult for this motorcycle to be tipped over. It's not likely to happen anyway. You guys know how much a Harley Davidson, for example, leans over. My Indian riders, they get nervous when they see it because they're not accustomed to it. But yeah, okay. Now I'm talking to my motor club guys, okay, or people that ride in groups or group rides. That's when parking like this is extremely, extremely, in my opinion, relevant and helpful. Because if you have a group of motorcycles, I'm going to talk to you about this in 2 ways. First, the practicality. If you have a group of motorcycles, right, you guys can't all fit in the same spot if you're parked like this versus like this, right? That's common sense. So if everybody parks the same way I mentioned, it's going to give you way more space to fit way more motorcycles. That's first. Secondly, now not just about the practicality, but about the way it looks. Oh my God, guys. Especially if you are in a group, a motorcycle club. if all of you guys are rolling up, remember, what I did, that's the same thing all of you will be doing. And here's what's gonna happen. You're rolling up, exercise number 2. The guy in the front, head and eyes, exercise number 4, he's gonna turn. 90 degrees, he's gonna go straight. He's gonna stop. The guy behind him is gonna do the same thing. But see, when people are not comfortable riding at slow speeds, unless everybody in that line is, this is gonna get all messed up because people are not gonna be doing things correctly. So this is something that I think motorcycle clubs should practice as well. Because again, I've experienced this. Remember guys, I say it all the time, don't think just because somebody's a motor officer that they got this all figured out. Because if they don't practice, they're gonna be in the same boat as everybody else that doesn't practice. They just wearing a uniform and not knowing pretty much what to do and not being confident. When that first guy turns, if the second guy decides to turn too late, now he's right up on him. And if he stops, now he's got to back up. He's messed everyone up behind him, right? Or sometimes people will make this turn and instead of doing it straight up, they want to lean the motorcycle and swoop into the turn. Again, that's because they don't feel comfortable making that turn straight up. That's why we practice it. But if everybody does what they're supposed to do, the second guy is also going to head and eyes from 2 to 4. He's going to straighten out, come to a stop. He's going to stay there, just like this guy stayed there. The third motorcycle rider is going to do the same thing, and the fourth and the fifth. Let's suppose there's 10 of them. When the 10th motorcycle rider makes his 90-degree turn and stops, then the first rider is going to signal them, and then all of them are going to back up at the same time. First rider puts the kickstand down, gets off his motorcycle. Everybody else is still straight up, holding up the motorcycle. He's going to walk out to the front. He's going to give them the shut the engines off. Everybody's going to shut their engines off. And then he's going to say dismount. Everybody's going to turn their handlebars to the left, get off the motorcycle and dismount. Now, that's the parking part of it. The reason why they're going to turn their handlebars to the left is because when it's time to leave, now again, this is the motor officer and me coming out. We practiced this where there wasn't a lot of space to make this turn. So the reason why everybody turned their handlebars is it's going to give me more room when I pull out if I need to make a left turn. You understand what I'm saying? The front wheel will be like this versus like this. And then you pull out at the same time. I don't want to get into the pulling out part, guys. Again, this is something I want to go over really with some motor clubs, motorcycle clubs, and group rides. So I tried this one, a group ride, it didn't work out that well. Because again, everybody's not trained to do the same thing. They don't know exactly what I'm doing, but when I park, that's the only way I park. I don't park my motorcycle at an angle. I don't park parallel park. Again, I'm talking about when it makes sense. Sometimes it might make sense to do that. But anytime I can park like this is how I park. As far as I'm concerned, this is how you park a motorcycle, right? And when it's time for you to leave, you're doing the warm-up exercise, which is short starts and stops, but you probably won't be stopping, right? So in that case, it's exercise number 1, and then it's going to go into exercise number 4, because most likely, you're going to be making a right turn or a left turn. All right, guys? Also, keep in mind that when you're backing your motorcycle up, if there's a curb, make sure that your pipes are going to clear that curb. Remember, when you lean the motorcycle to the left, the pipe on the left is going to be lower to the ground. Keep that in mind. And for people to come to my house and I have to tell them, they're not going to have to worry about the curb, but I don't want your pipes on my grass, all right? The pipes are hot. I don't need my grass burned, all right? So you got to be mindful of all of this stuff, all right, guys? All right, guys, listen, I hope this was helpful. If you guys are interested in coming out here and, because I'm thinking about it, just doing a day of parking where we can just do parking drills and just knock that out. And then I'll do a video on that with whoever comes out to practice that with me to show you how good it looks when you have a bunch of motorcycles doing the same thing. All right, guys? All right, listen, I know that there's anything that you guys could be doing with your day, and the fact that you choose to spend a little bit of it with me, that's always appreciated. Spend more time being thankful for the things that you have, guys, and less time complaining about the things that you don't. Seat time doesn't equal practice time, guys. And if you have time to ride these motorcycles, you better make time to practice. Until next time.